की बात कर रहे हैं, 80% लोग तो समाजवादी पार्टी के साथ समर्थन में खड़े ही हो गए
और कुर्सी ला करके मुख्यमंत्री की कुर्सी पर बैठा दिया और पिछड़े वर्गों की आंख में धूल झोंकने का काम किया। 85 तो हमारा है, 15 में भी बंटवारा है।
वंशवाद और परिवारवाद की राजनीति करने वाले सामाजिक न्याय के समर्थक नहीं हो सकते।
एक पुत्र प्रेम से जा रहा है, एक किसी को जा रहा है जिसके लिए हम लोग ने कहा टिकट यहाँ पे नहीं लड़ पाओगे, आप हार जाओगे, या जिनका एकदम ही टिकट कट रहा था।
Good evening. You're watching News Epicenter with me, Maria Shakil. It's a complex state, a state which has deep caste cleavages. It is a state which is unpredictable, but it is a kingmaker state, and that is the reason why the battle for Uttar Pradesh is intensifying with each and every passing day. So what did we see today? Today it was a day of show of strength on part of the Samajwadi Party. On the other side, we did see the BJP asserting itself and also saying that the OBC vote bank is very much with them. The BJP has found success in the Kamandal model, remember, bringing in multiple vote banks under the Hindutva umbrella, something central to the party's victory in the 2017 assembly elections and 2019 general elections. Beyond its upper caste base, the BJP's mission to unite non-Yadav OBCs and non-Jatav scheduled castes under the same banner is the basis for Yogi Adityanath's pitch for 80% versus 20%. But in the last 2 days, the BJP camp has been jolted by the exodus of 3 cabinet ministers and several MLAs, including top OBC leaders, resigning to join Akhilesh Yadav with a grand induction ceremony in Lucknow today. Moreover, 2 MLAs from the BJP ally, the Apna Dal, also stepped down to join the Samajwadi Party. Even though the BJP has dismissed the turncoats, claiming a dynastic party which loots the poor and engages in mafia raj can never work for the welfare of the downtrodden, Akhilesh Yadav is making grand strides to consolidate the backward communities of the state under his party's symbol. His camp has countered the BJP's pitch with 85% versus 15% in an apparent reference to the state's backward communities, which constitute 85% of the population. Beyond the traditional basis of power, there is a pitched battle to woo the critical OBC base, which both sides feel will decide the clear winner. The battle of optics is currently in Akhilesh's favor, but how will that resonate on the ground when the voters go to the polling booth? The BJP has gone all out to woo the OBC base to repeat the 2017 sweep. But is Akhilesh's consolidation and also this larger coalition taking the steam out of the BJP's campaign, or is it fair to say that just like Bengal, too much stock is being put in the exodus from the BJP? On Epicenter, we decode the clash of alliances in battleground Uttar Pradesh. Joining me on the show, Ram Pratap Singh, spokesperson of the Samajwadi Party, Neerja Chaudhary, journalist, political analyst, Shazia Ilmi, BJP spokesperson, Hilal Ahmed is representing the Congress. I'm going to begin with you, Neerja Chaudhary. We are looking at the alliances. It's fairly sealed on both the sides. It's clearly a 2-horse race now in UP. Who do you see has an advantage?
Look, it's becoming a very tight race from what one can make out. What these MLAs that are exiting the BJP, including the ministers, what they are doing is, number one, creating a mahal that the other side can win. Number two, they are creating a momentum. Remember, they've all not come out in one go. They are coming out in dribs and drabs, and this will probably continue. So they are building a momentum. And then they are creating a rainbow coalition on the side of the Samajwadi Party. You know what Mulayam Singh used to talk about? If 52% of the OBCs and the Muslims get together, nobody can touch us. Now, if 52% of the OBCs may not get together, Yadav plus a good chunk of the non-Yadav OBCs get behind Akhilesh Yadav, then it, as you say, it becomes a very tight race. And so I think these people, you know, it's one thing to say that maybe they are being weaned away for whatever reasons, but politicians are, you know, political weathercocks. They know how their community is thinking. And these people represent the smaller communities of the most backwards. And I would also say, let's not, we are not hearing anything about the Brahmins, but the Brahmins also need to be looked at. I would say sometime I think, you know, that the Brahmins may be unhappy with the Thakur Raj of Yogi Adityanath. But, and when it comes to the crunch, they may vote for the BJP. But I think this time we need to look at it more closely, because the voices we are hearing are the COVID too. The second wave of COVID has had a deeper impact than maybe we realize. The way people were left to fend for themselves, the way people died, and so on. And of course, economic hardship is there. So I think, I'm not saying that Akhilesh Yadav is all set to win. But as I say, it has become a very tight race today.
Okay, Shazia Ilmi, here is the Samajwadi Party and its allies talking about 85% versus 15%, which is a counter to what Yogi Adityanath has said recently about 80% versus 20%. What will be your response?
So first of all, I would like to say that, you know, just the last minute after having completed the tenure, if these former ministers or ministers who have served their tenure and then left, and the MLAs, if they are leaving one after the other, I think in a way it helps the cause of BJP, because there was so much of, there would be anti-incumbency, and these are the MLAs that people have identified with. So if fresh tickets were to be given and these were to go, these Samajwadi Party would be compelled to give tickets to these people, which would anger the aspirants in the party, in the SP cadres itself, who would be angling for these seats from where these aspirants have come. So I think first it will really upset the apple cart within the Samajwadi Party and the cadres and the ranks, one. Two, it would actually help the cause of BJP, because if the existing MLAs were to leave and fresh faces were to come, it would help by beating the anti-incumbency fever. And thirdly,
so since you are essentially saying that they were about to be replaced and hence they quit, but Shazia, these are sitting ministers as well, so the party cannot just dismiss them as just turncoats who may not have been fielded, because ticket announcement is yet to happen. Ram Pratap Singh, in 2017, when Samajwadi Party formed an alliance with the Congress, it was seen as a strong alliance because everybody went with direct arithmetic. Again in 2019, when BSP and the Samajwadi Party came together, it was almost like 50%. But increasingly, UP has shown that UP may not be as much about arithmetic as it is turning out to be a state where chemistry defines and directs the direction of politics.
Thank you. We have learned from the mistakes we made in 2017 and then in 2019, where we went in for top-down coalitions with Congress and then with BSP. And that didn't work. And as you rightly said, that it's not pure arithmetic, that 2 plus 2 adds up to 4. But this time round, the coalitions we are building up are with a bottoms-up approach. They are very well grounded in the local communities, in the local caste systems. And these coalitions, and this coalition is certainly going to lead to a very truly representative government coming into place in UP. So, having said that, also I would like to point out here that the leaders who are moving from BJP, the common narrative being spread around is that, well, they had a huge anti-incumbency and they were about to lose their tickets, and so they are moving to greener pastures. Well, that's what it looks like on the face of it. But let me tell you, there is a different thing here. These are not very tall leaders in that sense that they move and the communities and their castes move with them. These are the leaders who have their ear to the ground, and they understand the rumblings in their communities, and in this case, the backwards and the Dalits, who have been extremely unhappy over the last few years with the way the upper class domination in the BJP government in the state has been. And so,
but
these
Ram Pratap
leaders,
Singh, my question is, if that an alliance with BSP, where it was about the Brahmins and also the Dalits coming together, supposedly did not work, then these smaller parties or individuals, how much difference can they make?
so that's what
They
I
may
was
be
telling
all
you,
from
that
the non-Yadav OBCs, but what difference can they make as individuals?
so the difference here is that these leaders are moving because their communities and their castes want them to move. And those communities are extremely unhappy with the way the upper caste domination in BJP government has led to a lot of crimes against the Dalits and OBCs in UP, a lot of disrespect. And then one thing very solemnly, I must tell you that this government in UP, the BJP government in UP has very uniformly delivered only one thing, and that is the misery and trauma due to Corona phase 2. And everything else, there is upper class domination.
Okay. Hilal Ahmed, this is increasingly turning out to be a two-horse race or bipolar contest. As far as Mayawati is concerned, she is completely missing in action. Priyanka Gandhi Vadra did try to create some buzz. But the question is, where are you? Where is the Congress? What is your vote base? Are you really even in the race now?
I think we are very much in the race as far as this election is concerned, UP election is concerned. You see the difference between the parties. What Samajwadi Party and BJP is talking about. They are talking about the combinations, whether they have got the caste combination or not, whether they have got the combination based on the religion. They are not talking about the unemployment, which is rampant in the Uttar Pradesh. They are not talking about the inflation, which has really broken the back of the common people. They are not talking about the farmers who are really reading under the atrocities of the government. They are not talking about the 50% of the population, which is to be empowered. They don't care about all these things, and the Congress is the only party which is talking about the
कौन से
issues.
चुनाव में ये सब मुद्दों पर वोट पड़ा है? वो among many issues हो सकता है, but UP, Bihar and a number of states vote on caste lines. We cannot forget that. While you are raising questions which should be discussed, which becomes relevant, but I think India has moved beyond Bijli Sadak Pani and is talking about other aspects, and that is where the BJP may fit in. What about aspirations? When it comes to aspirational India, where are other political parties? Very many may say that the BJP is a party where they are able to find an answer to aspiration. Neerja Chaudhary, I'm trying to understand again. The alliances on both sides are very, very clear now. The BSP is nowhere to be seen, except Satish Chandra Mishra, who is making some odd comments every now and then. Mayawati occasionally tweets. Priyanka Gandhi Vadra may have put out a list of 125 candidates. That may be all right. But the question here is that are we looking at core issues, and do core issues always get subsumed in the larger narrative of caste in UP? Isn't that a reality?
Look, I would say this time...
we cannot say that every time the elections will be contested and won only by the caste and religious issues. The manner in which the Uttar Pradesh people are looking up at the political parties, the kind of adversaries, the kind of atrocities which Uttar Pradesh people are passing through, I don't think that after this corona, after the failure of the government after government, and just talking
but the question is that whatever you may be communicating has to be communicated through a group of people who are your cadre. The cadre of the Congress party doesn't exist on ground in UP. That's a reality, and you know it very well. Neerja Chaudhary, respond to my question.
I contest you of this
Okay, all right. Neerja Chaudhary.
If we don't have cadre, then from where the people are coming in the rallies of Priyanka Gandhi ji, from where the people are coming for the marathon, from where the people are coming and filling up the stadiums and madans of Uttar Pradesh. So I really contest
you made your point, Neerja Chaudhary now, please. Yes, Neerja.
On the face of it,
yes, go ahead, Neerja. Yes.
On the face, now it's looking like, on the face of it, a Mandal versus Mandir election again. And this is 30 years down the line. Now, I would say Mandal is there, but the issues hurting the people are economic, livelihood, prices, and particularly, as one is getting feedback, the second wave of COVID really has hurt people a lot, much more than the BJP gives credit for. Now, the mobilization is around caste. So it is that, as I said, the Rainbow Coalition on Samajwadi Party's side, the Muslim Yadav, MBC, which Akhilesh Yadav is now breaking into, and Jats are unhappy in Western UP, Gujars are unhappy in Western UP, the Sikhs are unhappy in Western UP. So these smaller communities are getting added to it. BJP is responding with the old Mandir. Yogi Adityanath is going to contest from Ayodhya. Prime Minister inaugurated the corridor in Kashi as one of the big projects before the Model Code of Conduct came into being. Then you have other leaders talking about reviving Mathura. So I think it's going back to its old tried and tested things that have got itself vote. Now I would say here again,
Okay.
I would put a note of caution.
Neerja, I'm just trying to understand. While I understand the point being made by you about Mandal versus Mandir, are you not discounting what the BJP has achieved in the last few years, in which they have emphasized on bringing together caste as well? The fact that there is an Apna Dal, which is an alliance of the BJP, and also the Nishad Party.
I was going to add that. Allow me just two sentences.
I
would like to add this. Maria,
can
I just finish what I was saying?
Yes, please, go ahead.
Let me just finish that.
Shazia, I'm going to come to you. Let Neerja Chaudhary finish her point. Neerja Chaudhary finish her point.
The point I was making was this. The BJP has cut into the OBCs in a major way. And it polled a huge chunk, 60 to 70% last time of the OBCs voted for it. And even if that slumps to half the figure of last time, it's still a very large figure. So the contribution of Amit Shah and Narendra Modi was to, widen the base of the BJP. The second thing the BJP has going for it is the huge, well-oiled election machinery, which comes in handy to cover the last mile. So that is why I say, where the sentiment shows that there is unhappiness, deep unhappiness, there are other things still going for the BJP, which had done very, very well last time.
Okay. Shazia, respond to this.
The channel who are speaking in one language, and you have one person from the BJP, and you're not giving even the time accorded to one person, to one side, which is me. And I think I totally disagree. I totally disagree with what Neerja ji had to say. I think we've come far beyond Mandir and Mandal politics. While she has merrily cherry-picked some of the inaugurations, she has very smartly and carefully not mentioned the various projects and schemes and medical colleges and schools which have been inaugurated, and the highways, and whether it's Jewar. So, it's very convenient to mention Mathura, which was always part of the sentiment that we respect. But the fact of the matter is that when it comes to sheer development, Awas Yojana, jobs given, which is 5 lakhs in 4.5 years, compared to 2.5 in the last 10 years by the two governments. When it comes to kilometrage of roads and highways, which is 3 times more in 4.5 years than the last 15 years. When it comes to just the sheer number of schools and medical colleges, when you look at the airports, so I think people want to look at things a certain way. Some of these journalists have just practiced using the name of caste a certain way, VP Singh's time, and they just can't go beyond that. So politics has changed, and for people who are beneficiaries of these various yojanas, so they have, and that cuts across the caste.
But Shazia, my question to you is also this. Here is the Samajwadi Party representative saying
lame analysis
that the
very
Samajwadi
jisapata,
Party
very
alliance
jisapata,
is a bottoms-up
rata-rataya
approach
analysis that has
in
been
which
done for 30
these
years.
are people who may be coming from smaller parties, may not have that huge vote base supposedly, which was in several years ago, like Mayawati's BSP and say even a Congress, although it has really shrunk its footprints in UP. They are looking at bottoms up approach. And also, don't you think that the narrative that has got built, particularly post the second wave of COVID, is something that the BJP is finding difficult to counter?
No, I don't think so. In fact, WHO has praised UP government for having done great work, and UP has done extremely well compared to what it was, and in terms of infrastructure. I mean, can you imagine any other government being there but that of this one? And because that's how it was, to place it fairly and squarely on the shoulders of the government. It had its resources the way it was given to Yogi ji, the way it was. And for that it's done remarkably well. So for a huge state as it is, which is, so I think it's very easy to just go on and on with it. You know, earlier they went on and on about law and order. And then the NCRB facts is what we came up with. And it actually, so now they stop saying that. So it's just one narrative that gets down. So the new thing is corona. But the fact of the matter is, it is Akhilesh Yadav. Okay. And I'm shocked that Nirja ji doesn't mention that he refused to get vaccinated, saying it's Modi ji's vaccine. Imagine giving the rein to those people who did not want to be vaccinated, who wanted people to die. That's Akhilesh Yadav. Okay. Why would people of UP
let me give the final words to the Samajwadi Party representative. Go ahead.
You would prefer Samajwadi Party to BJP. It's like, it's hilarious, you know. So I don't know what to say.
Thank you, Maria. Okay. May I respond to the BJP spokesperson here? She's going on and on about how the Yogi Adityanath government and BJP government has performed extremely well in the state. Well, I would like to point out just a few human development indicators in which the UP is probably down to the last state in the country, or whether it is health, whether it's women's welfare, even law and order.
Sir. You're lying totally.
I'm not lying. Don't interfere. When you were speaking and lying, sir. I was not saying anything. Allow me to speak the truth.
UP has actually
allow me to speak the truth.
And it's 20
Maria, should I speak or?
That's what I just mentioned. It's a lie. If you see
let him speak, please. Let him speak. You have got
so when they talk about law and order, I would like to point out the NCRB data here, which clearly indicates that the number of riots in the state of Uttar Pradesh have gone up in last 5 years. This is NCRB data speaking, not me. And then heinous crimes against women and children have gone up over the same period of time. Most of these crimes have been perpetrated. Is Hathras a lie? Excuse me, madam. Is Hathras a lie? Is Unnao a lie? Is Fatehpur is Lakhimpur Kheri a lie?
There has been a 21 decrease in terms of molestation.
People are going to vote you out because of
506 decrease. You are lying, sir.
All the time.
And I will read out to you how much you're lying.
All right, we have reached to the end of this discussion.
Yeah, there is an actual decrease according to
Lal Ahmed and Nirja Chaudhary. Appreciate your time. Thank you so much for joining us. A piece of breaking news coming in now. The Indian Air Force has released the findings of the probe into the helicopter crash which led to the deaths of CDS, General Bipin Rawat, his wife and 11 other personnel. It has said that it was not a mechanical failure, sabotage or negligence has been found. The probe reveals the pilot got disoriented because of unexpected change in weather and appearance of clouds. Shreya Dhondial is joining me. Shreya, go ahead.
Maria, the technical term and the reason that has been used by the Tri-Service Inquiry as to the reason behind this very tragic crash is CFIT, Controlled Flight into Terrain. Let me just read out from the press release that they have put out now. They're saying after we, analyzed everything from the flight data recorder and the cockpit voice recorder, besides questioning all available witnesses, the Court of Inquiry has ruled out mechanical failure, sabotage or negligence as a cause of accident. The accident, says this inquiry, was a result of the entry into clouds due to unexpected change in weather conditions in the valley. This led to spatial disorientation of the pilot, resulting in controlled flight into terrain, CFIT, as we've been saying. Based on its findings, the Court of Inquiry has made certain recommendations which are being reviewed. And what are these recommendations? The short press release has not really elaborated on that, but our sources are telling us that SOPs while flying VVIPs could change, Maria, after this crash. Now, there are many questions that the inquiry would have posed to itself, and many uncomfortable answers would have come to the fore. All of them have not been put out. It's a very small press release that the Indian Air Force has put out, just giving us the basics, essentially putting together a sequence of events, Maria, and those pictures that you're seeing on your screens, giving us the impact of the crash. You know, the video that had come, the last video of the helicopter that had come to us had given us an indication as to what exactly had happened. You have the helicopter flying at very low range. 7 minutes before the helicopter is to land, communicates to the ATC in Sulur that they are going to descend into Wellington. After that, they enter an envelope of cloud, and then there is a loud crashing sound. So that essentially is what has led to the crash, according to the Tri-Service inquiry. And as you know, this inquiry has now been submitted to the Government of India as well.
All right, Shredundial, thank you so much for that piece of breaking news. That's all from me. Thanks so much for watching.